Folks, we need to talk about this. And it's the fact that a lot of people on the left seem to be under the impression that younger generations are inherently more progressive and left wing than previous ones, right? And the assumption is, oh, I see a person who's Gen Z, and they're running for Congress. Well, they must be really progressive. They must be cutting edge. So I'm going to show you something, and I need you guys to tell me what you think about this individual named Isaiah Martin, who announced his running for U.S. Congress. Just take a look at his video here.
We used to take the word democracy for granted. You see, when I grew up, my parents used to take me to vote with them every single time there was an election. You see, back then, you probably would have seen me wearing some light-up tennis shoes, wearing the same little I voted sticker that the clerk would give me. Shoot, I'd wear it all day, peel it off, stick it on a new shirt, and wear it to school the next day. You would have thought, in all of these years, that voting would have gotten easier, not harder. But unfortunately, I'm standing right here at ground zero of voter suppression. You see, right here in Texas, Greg Abbott and his allies have created laws that have taken polling places away from line cooks working the night shift. They've thrown out mail-in ballots from seniors who can't drive, and they've empowered the state to have the ability to overturn election results. You see, when I was in college, I led the way for our football stadium to be used as a polling site. And just this past year, they introduced a bill to ban polling sites from college campuses. So, trust me when I tell you, the attack on democracy is real. And I don't want you to think for a second that this is just a Texas thing. Because what we're seeing right here in Texas is just a snapshot of what's going on all across the nation when extremists with no vision try to hold onto power with division. Now more than ever, we need the federal government. I want you to know whether it's strengthening voting rights, protecting our kids from mass shootings, or empowering people on when, if, and how they become a parent, we can tackle big issues when we're relentlessly focused on the future. To the folks, to everybody that's dead set on sending us backwards, well, they're about to find out. My name's Isaiah Martin, and I'm running to become the next Gen Z member of the United States Congress, because democracy is only guaranteed if we fight for it.
So, seemed pretty good, right? Well, part of the issue is that when you actually look at his stances on issues, he is not great. Do you guys remember when the House of Representatives was going after Ilhan Omar like a year or so ago, a couple years ago? He lists on his website the desire to support and co-sponsor the resolution titled Recognizing Israel as America's Legitimate Democratic Ally, which was basically introduced as a gigantic middle finger to Ilhan Omar. Basically he supports AIPAC, the American Israel Public Affairs Committee, the lobbying organization for the state of Israel that is allowed to operate with impunity within the United States. Additionally, he has been getting so much blowback over a lot of this that his campaign removed his positions, removed his entire platform from his campaign website. that is no longer viewable unless you go through like Wayback Machine. Like he is not great. Like when it comes to things like Medicare for all, he does not support it. He does not support a universal healthcare program. On his website, it said, before it was removed, when the time comes, Isaiah will enthusiastically vote yes to create a public option across the United States. But not universal healthcare. And yeah, no, it's just really interesting. Just really interesting here. He also just seems to have a very nebulous ideology. So he's just a Democrat? Yeah, he's just a like a run-of-the-mill lib Democrat who is just kind of Weasley, is my interpretation of this. Like 2 years ago, he apparently, when Colin Powell died in 2021, he got on TikTok to say, rest in peace to an American hero. He's always somebody who stood up for what he believes was right, no matter what. We need more people like Colin Powell. You know, Colin Powell, one of the guys who got us embroiled in the Iraq War for no reason while spreading lies about weapons of mass destruction. That Colin Powell. Just... And also, this is just kind of a little gut punch. In February of 2020, on his Instagram account, he posted a photo of himself alongside Texas Governor Greg Abbott, sitting in front of campaign signs for the Republican State House candidate Angelica Garcia. So he's real weird. I'm not saying that there are conclusions to draw here, but that overall, he's not really someone who seems super trustworthy. That's my takeaway. This is kind of an Among Us situation, and at worst, it's an Among Us situation. At best, it's just like one of the most centrist libs you can get, which is really fucking interesting because the district he's running in literally went to Biden by 26 points. There's no reason to be running someone that conservative in that district. There's no reason to do that. Like winning by 26%, guys. And they have a guy running who's not even in favor of Medicare for all. This guy's like just nebulous as fuck when it comes to what his actual politics are. Like, he's so afraid to stand by his positions that he removed his platform from his campaign website. Like, dude. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you other than that. And I think that it makes a really interesting contrast here, because I've seen some more of the farther left-leaning folks really ragging on Representative Gloria Johnson. Now, if you remember, guys, when Tennessee was expelling those two members of their house. I forget their names off the top of my head, but they were being expelled for protesting for Black lives. Gloria was also one of the people who they were debating punishing because she stood with them. Yeah, Representative Justin Jones and the Justins. Yeah. Gloria Johnson was one of the people who stood by them, and honestly, the only reason she wasn't punished was probably because she was white, and it's Tennessee. Gloria Johnson essentially is now running for U.S. Senate in Tennessee, and she just released her announcement of running, and she's taking on Marsha Blackburn in Tennessee, and who is a massive piece of shit, by the way. But let's check out Gloria Johnson's ad to just kind of get a sense of where her campaign is at. Okay? Now, I've been seeing some people point at her and being like, oh, she's grifting. I don't think... Let me put it this way. I think she's being fucking sincere, and I think she would be an excellent, excellent candidate to go up against Marsha Blackburn and win. So let's see what she got. This is her broadside against Marsha Blackburn.
An all too familiar scene in America.
Gunfire from an assault rifle.
Yet another horrific story playing out in the South.
When will enough be enough? When will we elect leaders with the courage to stand up for us? Instead of a bunch of bullies and cowards who only do what their party says. I know fighting for justice has a cost. I learned that firsthand as a little girl when I had to sleep in the hallway instead of my bedroom to avoid being shot because my dad had the courage to bring the KKK to justice. And when my friends and I believed mothers and fathers who'd lost children at Covenant deserved a voice and we fought for it, they expelled them. My name is Gloria Johnson. I'm not a politician, but I did beat one to become a state house member. Those politicians, they don't like me much because I speak my mind. And when it's bullshit, I call it bullshit. What I do is fight for justice for real people because that's what Tennessee deserves. We deserve health care and prescriptions that don't make us go broke. We deserve the freedom to make our own choices with our bodies. And most importantly, we deserve a leader with the courage to stand up to extremists and billionaires that have taken over our system. That person ain't Marsha Blackburn, but it is me. She supports a national ban on abortion and talks about freedom. And she voted against lowering our costs for insulin and prescriptions while taking nearly $2 million from insurance and Big Pharma. Look, I'm 6'3", I'm not afraid to stand up to anyone when it comes to doing what's right for Tennessee, especially Marsha Blackburn, and that's why I'm running for Senate.
I don't know about you guys, but that is a good fucking ad. And I believe her. You know, I like she's walked the walk here. She literally put her career on the line and paid the price for it. And if you're gonna launch a campaign like this in Tennessee, right? Bringing up stories of how you had to lay down in the hallway of your home because your dad was prosecuting the KKK. Bringing up how you put your career on the line to fight for justice for the victims of school shootings. Talking about issues that affect everyday Tennesseans, like out-of-control prescription drug prices and healthcare costs, and also fighting the battle on abortion. These are things that ultimately are really, really resonant with the vast majority of voters in America, even in Tennessee. Even in Tennessee. No, like she's somebody who like is pretty goddamn solid, and from everything I can tell so far, incredibly earnest. I believe her. And I'm on board. I'm on board with the campaign until I see something to the contrary to let you guys know about. But like just absolutely point after point after point. And the fact is, because she's standing strong, because she stood with the Justins, I believe that she would stand for trans rights as well. And that's but also that doesn't need to necessarily be the keystone of like her opening salvos of the campaign, right? Because when you look at what like people who like what voters are tired of right now, we can look at how fucking tired conservatives are about hearing about trans people. And you know what her opponent, Marsha Blackburn, is currently doing? Marsha Blackburn is out here pushing the Kids Online Safety Act to protect children from trans content. Her main purpose for existing right now is currently trying to just ban trans people from existing online. That is what Marsha Blackburn is doing. Marsha Blackburn is not doing anything that will improve the lives of people in Tennessee. She's just out there trying to fight the culture war and punish a tiny, tiny minority of people who live in her state for merely minding their own business. Like, again, conservatives have already been shown this is a losing strategy in the primaries, and in frankly in like a lot of the midterms as well. Like, these are not issues that do well outside of their very insular base. And even within their base, it's a small part of their base, right? A very small part of the Republican base actually gives a shit about trans issues. It's just to distract them all from the BS in the background. Exactly. What this is ultimately right here. What Marsha Blackburn is doing here. It's theater. It's theater. And I feel like someone who's willing to focus on issues that the vast majority of people are struggling with in Tennessee, who's also going to be there for Black and trans people, like, and gay people and all the people in the state. That's Gloria Johnson. And I think she makes that very clear, you know? Marsha Blackburn gives major Get Out vibes. True. True. So anyway, I think there's a pretty big difference here between Democratic candidates, especially as we're going into 2024. We need to be more discerning when we look at candidates, right? Because some candidates can appear to be very strong, or at least unobjectionable, but actually have some pretty significant flaws, like Isaiah Martin. But then you also have people who are very sincere, who are putting themselves and their careers on the line, and I think we have that in Gloria Martin. And I just think these two recently announced campaigns really encapsulate the differences and what we should be looking for in our candidates. So, yeah, thought I would bring that to your attention, folks. Yeah, Decay. I'm definitely in favor of ranked choice voting. It's just the reality of the impending election isn't going to be changed by pushing for ranked choice voting now. And it also needs to be something that's adopted across the country. And until we get ranked choice voting, a multi-party system is just almost a mathematical impossibility.